Hello, ladies and gentlemen.
Recording in progress.
That is a great impression of the lady that the viewers never hear. I really don't like that feature. I never say it's so that you can't be, but it's also it's so that people that so they're aware the recording is starting. Maybe you can't prank anyone no more. You can't randomly start recording somebody on Zoom without and like going, "Oh, we got that on tape." You can't.
Literally, all you have to do is get your phone out and video the screen from your phone.
Yeah, but you have to turn your camera off and it looks dodgy and
it's a workaround, just get your phone out, just like record. I've caught many a candid photograph of Zoom calls, etc.
Anyway, I'm your host, Alex. I'm joined by John today. How you doing, John?
Word. I'm all right. I'm not too bad. I think I'm going down with SummerSlam fever.
Yes, the Summerfest fever, as that one host of Raw during the guest host era called it the Summerfest, which has always been a consistent meme. I always now call it the Summerfest, piss wrestling fans. But yeah, SummerSlam fever is happening. Thankfully, obviously, I know the Delta variant is going rampant in parts of America. So if you are affected, hopefully everyone is okay. To my American listeners, also. For those returning listeners, you would have known that technically this episode was meant to be the It's Lantern. My apologies. Owen is busy this week, so we'll do that one next week. And then after that will be Infinity War. So everything's kind of been pushed back and rolled back a week as well. But if Infinity War is coming, it's going to happen.
It's worked out for the best though, because Alex forgot that he was going to do a SummerSlam podcast, which was due to be this week anyway.
Yeah, it was. Just to let everyone know, before you think we're silly, we are filming this on Wednesday, the 11th of August. So only 7 matches have been announced for the card. But what me in general do before we go into the matches, we'll do what we did for the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. We'll talk about matches that we think could be announced and we'll predict those first. And we'll go from there. But first of all, John, just for our Marvel fans and our Marvel contingent, did you manage to catch What If today, or have you not managed to sit down and watch that one yet?
I did catch What If today. I was very impressed. I loved the standard of the animation. Obviously, it was a kind of Cap and Peggy centric episode, which was very much up my street. I love me a bit of Cap and Peggy. So from the minute that Peggy kind of came out in the kind of Captain Britain, I suppose it is, outfit with the shield, I was loving that. I spent a bit of time watching that this morning. Absolutely loved it. And I've spent a little bit of time this afternoon listening to the second volume of the Ninth Doctor Adventures from Big Finish featuring Christopher Eccleston, which also dropped this morning.
It's been a great day. Yeah, I've not listened to the first volume, but I've got that on my laptop, which I need to sit down and listen to at some point.
I tell you what, I'm going to suggest this. Do yourself a favour, listen to the second volume first, because I think that the second volume probably works better because it seems to be separate stories, whereas the first has got like an arc running through it. I think to ease yourself back into Eccleston, and for anybody else that's in a similar position and hasn't listened to Volume 1 yet, I'd suggest listening to Volume 2 first.
Thank you for that tip. Because obviously people know that my opinion on Eccleston isn't as high as some people that are similar to my age who think he's like one of the best of the modern era. He just isn't for me, but that's fine.
Greatest actor of his generation.
Would you seriously say? Would you say that?
I would.
Who we counting in his generation?
Who would you say was a better actor of his? I mean, his generation is essentially the generation above yours because he's old enough to be your dad.
You're saying like he's better than people. There's so many. I don't want to name like a dumb one. Well, I wouldn't say it's the best.
But it's hard, isn't it, to actually sit there and physically go, well, this person is better than Christopher Eccleston.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how much of his stuff you've seen, but if you watch things like Shallow Grave, Let Him Have It, Cracker, Our Friends in the North is the one that I need to catch and the one that everybody raves on about. But
I watched him in that.
Never not brilliant.
I watched him in that HBO show that he did. So I don't know what it was called.
Oh, the one that was set in like a kind of Arctic thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't remember what that was called, but I watched that as well. He was also in The Leftovers, wasn't he? He was very good in that.
Yep. So he's very good.
I think I do stand by it. Actually, I do stand by it. greatest actor of his generation.
There we go. That's from John. I'll give it to John Cena just because I've seen Suicide Squad and I've got SummerSlam fever, and it links to this week's podcast. Even though Eccleston's a far better actor than John Cena, but there we go.
I mean, John Cena would potentially have been better in Thor and Thor: The Dark World.
Yeah, that wasn't Eccleston's fault, though, was it? Let's be honest.
No.
Yeah, I think overall it's an exciting time. I agree with you on What If. I thought the animation was stunning. I thought the Chris Evans, because obviously the issue is it's like 70% returning cast, 30% impersonators. I was like, if the impersonators are off, that's going to take me off. But I actually thought if you didn't tell me it wasn't Chris Evans, I probably wouldn't have picked up on it till close to the end, actually. Yeah. So I didn't mind it.
I think because it's animated, it's a little bit kind of apart from anyway, so it's less jarring to have a different voice on an animation.
Yeah.
Because obviously you've not got the same visuals. So you kind of know that it's a slightly different kettle of fish. Sorry, I'm just being nuzzled by a guide dog who wants his squeaky toy, but cannot have his squeaky toy because we are recording a podcast.
Sparky just wants to be on the podcast. He wants to get his squeaks known to the podcast.
If you can hear him breathing, then that is Sparky being on the podcast. That's his contribution.
Yeah, and what a great contribution it was. But yeah, I thought it was really good. I'm trying not to dip into spoilers because I suppose by this point it's been out for 5 days. I can kind of do that. I like as well that the premise of the episode wasn't what if Peggy Carter became Captain America. The beginning premise is the thing that changes is what if Peggy decided to stay in that room. I like how that's what it was. It was the subtlest change that then ricochets into this. I wonder whether that's going to be something that continues on, and like there's going to be little subtler changes to this and that.
Yeah, I mean, you'll probably see like differences week on week. So with some, you might see great big changes. With others, you might see subtle little things that lead to a butterfly effect. I think Marvel have got the brains in them to kind of switch it up a little bit week on week and just make sure that we're not. I'll get on another toy, thank you, and just make sure that we're not experiencing the same kind of thing every week.
Yeah, exactly. And I think this is the perfect example to just experiment and throw everything at the wall and see what sticks and just go for it. Like I said, I know I've already seen criticism that they didn't get Chris Evans back. They were never going to. Chris Evans' contract is over. Why would he do it? You know what I mean? It's like they're not going to bring him back for this. I mean, overall as well, it wasn't his story, so it's not like he wasn't really central to the plot. In actual fact, he disappears for about 5 minutes. So he didn't. That would have been a big fee for a rather tiny part.
I mean, you know what fandoms are like. Some people are never going to be happy anyway.
Nope.
So all you can do is try to please the majority, because the die-hard fans that aren't going to be happy anyway, they're going to watch it anyway. So it's more the casual viewer and the kind of casual fans that they need to appeal to, and I think that's exactly what it does.
Yeah, speaking of fandom, I just want to give an absolute massive thank you to all you guys who watched our Doctor Who actors conversation and new show and a conversation that John and myself had with some other great people on the show. Because all you guys were respectful, some of you disagreed with us and you had different opinions, but none of it turned into all the threats and the abuse. I'm so thankful because sometimes we do get that if we say, but that because I was worried that as soon as we post that, immediately someone's going to bitch, and none of you did that. So massive thank you to you guys. Because
on another note, I don't think you guys are doing the internet properly. But
yeah, why don't you join the mass Twitter and bitch?
We all know this isn't how you do the internet, but yeah, it's great. But I think, to be fair, Alex, I think that's probably because of the tone of the discussion. The discussion that we had was actually very positive, very forward thinking. There were differences of opinions. I only said once, and
you're saving it. You're saving it.
I stopped myself saying it because I'm aware that this is a wrestling themed podcast, and children may wish to listen.
Do kids not watch Doctor Who?
Most kids don't want to listen to 6 white adult males talking about Doctor Who.
Fair point. I'll give you that. Yeah. He was let's say John, instead of the word he was going to use, he was a heel. There you go. There's some wrestling term you'll get. Same thing.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I probably will say it at some point in this podcast because Riddle's probably going to come up at some point. So.
But for now,
but for now, I'm not going to say it.
But yeah,
being good.
Because I logged on Twitter this morning. Big mistake. I was in a good mood this morning. I made a coffee. I was feeling good. I was like, I'm ready to attack Wednesday. It's raining outside. It's that bog standard midweek of just ugh. And then I look on Twitter and it's like Doctor Who fans are sending Michael Sheen death threats because he could become the next Doctor. And I was like, the chance of this man, first of all, becoming the Doctor is very slim. Second of all, why the fuck are you sending him death threats? I know you just didn't use a bad word. I said the word fuck.
I mean, the big thing that I'm taking from this is that you've woken up and thought, I'm going to tackle Wednesday. I mean, you do realise that you're a student and it's the middle of summer.
Yeah, I know exactly.
What exactly were you going to tackle today? Making some toast. having a tug whilst watching Loose Women. You know, it's.
Fair point. Fair point.
But yeah, I mean,
I'm sorry. Give me two. I'm sorry.
It shouldn't take.
I'm not over the Loose Women.
It shouldn't take for us to say it, but guys, don't send people death threats. It's not very nice. You know, and like it's not even like Michael Sheen's turned around and said he wants the job or anything. He's been linked with it by a newspaper or a bookies or somebody that probably doesn't know what they're talking about, and you're giving the guy shit just because his name's been linked there. I can imagine where this is coming from. This is going to be, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Kingdom, but I really am. This is going to be fans of the current era that are not happy that it's, according to this, not going to be a woman.
Yeah. And also I don't understand that.
Guys,
because
be better. We said it the other week. Be better.
It's like you said, I think yesterday, another day on Zoom, it wasn't on the podcast, but you said you don't understand these people that want diversity and want inclusion and then bitch and moan when it isn't that, you know, because inclusion and diversity is everybody should get their fair share. It shouldn't be white men now can't do anything because then you're not including the white men. And
have we ever had a Welsh doctor?
No.
That's a box that Mr. Sheen would tick.
We can get his new catchphrase can be Akavi. He's disgusting.
Avid listeners to the podcast will know that I don't think they're going to go down that road. I think they're going to go for a woman because I think that they will want to, by doing so, keep their options open in the future. And I think it keeps their options more open by sticking with a woman for the next time. There's nothing to say that Michael Sheen wouldn't be brilliant doing it in 4 or 5 years' time. I think he'd make a very good Doctor. But aside from anything else, he's got Good Omens 2 coming up.
Yeah, exactly. But all the Jodie Comer hopes for Dast when she signed on for a new series, as if that was ever going to happen. But everyone's now sad.
Well, as we know, I didn't see that. I didn't see that happening.
It was never happening.
Nothing against her. I've never seen her as a Doctor. Master, possibly, yeah. But never seen her as a Doctor.
Yeah, because she could just be a character from Killing Eve and Doctor Who, and it would work. But I was really annoyed, John, because I realized in the podcast I didn't say someone that would be really good. I don't know if you know who they are. You've seen Supergirl, right? You know Kate McGrath. I think she'd be a brilliant Doctor. I
have seen Supergirl. I do know Kate McGrath, but I know her more from Merlin, to be honest.
Yeah, Merlin as
she very much floated my boat in Merlin. I always felt that she stole the show as Morgana.
Yeah, me too.
And you know, with Supergirl coming to an end, I think that there's a real it's a possibility.
Exactly.
It's a real possibility. I think she'd be great.
And I'd also, but I know he's been in the show before, but also from Supergirl, David Harwood, who I'd also back him. I think he'd be brilliant if you wanted to cast a male person of color. Yeah. I think why not him? I think he's brilliant. He's not been in a role where it'd be too jarring and people would go, well, that doesn't make sense, but because he was only in one story, so I'd say go for it.
I mean,
At this point as well, in the modern era, you're going to get many actors doing multiple things.
But, Karen Gillan was in it before, Peter Capaldi was in it before, Andon Torchwood before, Colin Baker was in it before. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. I mean, as you know, my top pick, the person I want to see do it most is Charlotte Ritchie, and she was in it very recently. But I don't think that dissuades her from doing it. It's the world of Doctor Who. It's where people can travel through time and space. Of course, the Doctor can steal somebody's face.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, character, it's just like, you look at the classic era, so many actors did so many different stories. And I'm fine with that, because the good thing about Doctor Who is you can get actors doing entirely different roles from what they did before.
Yeah.
So, I'm all for it.
Michael Sheard was in it about half a dozen times, playing 65 different characters every time. And they weren't sort of like background roles either. They were all kind of speaking roles. They were all relatively prominent. There's nothing ruling it out at all.
There we go. I also just have to quickly say as well, while we're filming this podcast, happy birthday to the best wrestler, Hulk Hogan. Sorry, I had a little bit of a spit there. I don't know what happened, but yeah, happy birthday to.
If you do want a badge of honor, then do what my good friend David Bedwell managed to do several years ago, and get Hulk Hogan to block you on Twitter, because apparently for some reason he doesn't like being called a racist. So that's not me saying that he is one or he isn't one. I'm just saying that he doesn't like being called one. I don't like it. I wouldn't like being called one because I'm not one. Some people might not like being called one because they are one.
Facts.
I will leave for legal reasons. I will leave you all to decide which of those camps Mr. Hogan falls into.
Yeah, I am also now very scared with you being on the podcast, John, because it seems everything you kind of say becomes a fact. The Euros scores, some predictions you've made, and then I'm not. Obviously, you told me as well that you aren't the first person to say this, but I'm still cutting it as some weird voodoo. Obviously, like on the Doctor Who actors thing, you talked about Rose Matafeo, and in a matter of days afterwards, a headline comes out with Rose Matafeo apparently now in the top running. I'm like, can you predict world peace or something at this point?
No, I do have to give a little. I do have to give a little shout out there to the Guardian, to a guy called Martin Bellum in the Guardian, who ran an article a few weeks ago about 14 or 15 actors that could potentially play the next Doctor. This was before Jodie announced she was going. Rose Matafeo was second or third on the list. It wasn't a thought that had crossed my mind until I read it, and then it was like, God, yeah, that could work. So yeah, that's where I picked it up from. But yeah, we'll see how it goes with my SummerSlam predictions.
If you get all these right, next thing we do a prediction on, I'm a friend, obviously our friend Connor works in the betting shop, so I might put some money down on whatever you say. Obviously, this wouldn't have come out, but
can you bet on wrestling?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
You could also bet on who's going to be the next Batman. That was the thing at the time that people were spending before Robert Pattinson was announced. You can genuinely bet on those sorts of shit.
I get the kind of, to a degree, I get the actors casting and stuff, but wrestling, sorry kids, cover your ears, but it's predetermined.
I know, right? Yeah. Right, John, as well, because we need some good luck.
Next Royal Rumble, I'm heading down the bookies and putting a tenner on Papa Shango.
He'll arrive late though. He won't get there.
That's why he's going to win. That's why he's going to win. If he'd be entrant number 3, and he'd come running in just after number 30 when half of them have been thrown out.
Oh my God, he's been late. Oh yeah.
I like those listening on the podcast, by the way. My background, I know you'd like to follow my funky backgrounds. My background today is not only the greatest SummerSlam match of all time, but probably one of the greatest wrestling matches of all time.
Agreed.
It's the promo picture for Bret Hart and the British Bulldog for the main event of SummerSlam 1992 at Wembley Stadium.
Yep. I think this has also been the big talking point within wrestling as well, is who is going to tap the UK market next, because I feel like there's going to be a new war almost, because AEW really want to do a big arena show in the UK, like one of their big shows. I'm not a massive AEW person. I've not really got into it because WWE takes up enough of my time, and even then I don't watch Raw because it's too fucking long, so I can't be asked watching another bunch of wrestlers to get into. But
this is something that I chatted about with a few friends before lockdown, and it felt a little bit like a kind of pipe dream that we put together at the time, but it's something that I've still got in the back of my head. Like, if AEW did come over here and do the show in London, and let's not forget, Tony Khan owns Fulham. No reason why they couldn't put something on at Craven Cottage.
Yeah.
A few of us were saying, yeah, we'll get together and we'll go. Like, I'd be bang up for that.
If there was
especially now that they're like a lot of good people that have left WWE.
Yeah, like, and especially I don't know about you, but I mean, you must have heard the rumors of CM Punk inbound, Daniel Bryan inbound. If they go, like, WWE, like, it's in the rumor mill that Vincent's in the serious competition. There's no way, if those two signings are fact, that he doesn't. If he doesn't, he's fucking. I mean, we know he's delusional, but as a businessman, he is fucking delusional. Because
I've never believed in this thing of kind of like brand loyalty, if you like. I've never believed, you're either a WWE guy or you're an AEW guy. There's enough to watch. There's enough time in the world to watch WWE, AEW, TNA, New Japan, whatever you want to fucking watch. It's all out there for you to watch. Watch the lot if you want to.
You wouldn't have much for life, but do it.
Well, I mean,
yeah. Like, I'm like you. I don't have loyalty to either, but I'm saying, if Vince doesn't see AEW as a big, especially in the US market, a threat, in terms of this could become more popular than us, we could be dethroned, especially in the 18 to 24 demographic, which is what they care about. Like,
yeah, but like this is like history repeating itself. Let's face it. Back in the 90s. Vince never saw WCW as a threat until WCW took him in the ratings. If that happens with AEW, all of a sudden he gets bitten on the arse and he's got to take it seriously again.
Exactly. I'm excited. I think, especially, I'm going to be watching that Chicago show. I'm going to be buying it on Fight TV to watch the AEW Chicago. I think it's Full Gear, just to see if CM Punk pops up. And if he does, I will piss my pants probably.
I do like that you've come dressed as a WWE referee today.
My shirt's actually red, but my camera's not showing it. It's like red here.
It's looking kind of like monochrome. You look like a barcode.
Yeah, I do, don't I? It's not really picking up the colours very well. But, it's red, white, and black.
Probably because the curtain's red.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It's
seeping all the red from my shirt. But I think I have a special affinity with Punk anyway, because when I first started watching in 2011, obviously that was the summer of Punk. That's when he became the babyface, won the WWE Championship, was the most charismatic guy in the business. I'm kind of similar as well, where I sort of like CM Punk because he is undoubtedly himself, which sometimes just can be a massive prick. Not in like the Piers Morgan sense of the word, but like he's very much, he stays to himself. He's not the most outgoing person, quite similar to like a Dean Ambrose or John Moxley. Yeah. So he's very self-contained. He's got a bit of an ego, which, I've always said at that point, you should never be rude to others, but you can also believe it at that level. I wouldn't be surprised if they did, on the money they're on, how much they've been told they're good, the support they get. Like, you're going to get that. You know what I mean?
I mean, when he left WWE, he had some very valid points. I mean, back in sort of 94, 2014, he had some very valid points. And I remember listening to the Colt Cabana podcast with him on, because he did his first interview on Colt Cabana after leaving me, and I remember listening to that on a train journey down to Fareham to see my cousin, and a lot of the points he were making was very valid. He hadn't he'd been selling so much merchandise for the company. He was so popular. He was so over, and yet he was never treated with the same main event status as some of the other guys.
Exactly.
And he had some really genuine gripes, but at the same time, there's clearly a bit of a kind of failure to get on with people on his part. Oh, Chelsea by the way.
I agree, because I've also listened to that podcast. I do agree. I think it's the same thing. I don't know if you heard this story, right? So when Dean Ambrose won his first US championship, I think it was at Extreme Rules 2014. No, it must be 2013. He says on television, they cut away from it, but he goes, "Give me my fucking belt" to the referee once he wins it, right? I think in elation. And then I think somebody goes to the back and says, "Did you say the F word on TV?" And he goes, "Well, I don't think so." And then the next day, I think Mark Carrano comes up and he goes, "Why'd you say the F word on TV? You need to go to the back and apologize to the video producers because they had to hit a button for 5 seconds. How disrespectful!" And he goes over there and he's being like genuinely apologetic. And Mark Carrano goes, "Look, I know you're a different kind of cat, but you can't just apologize like that. That's not how we do an apology here." And he goes, "Well, what do we to do? Like, I apologize, didn't mean to do it, and I won't do it from now on." I think it's a mixture of things. I don't think WWE help themselves in this very Arcadian way of, being a good company man, which hopefully will change whenever Vince retires. I hope he doesn't die. Well, he's obviously going to die at some point, but I hope he doesn't go
eventually.
Out. But like, I do. It's a mix of both.
We all remember the pipe bomb. We all know exactly what's going to happen when Vince McMahon dies.
Yeah, this company will be much better after Vince McMahon is dead. But again, I do see where he's coming from. I mean, the fact that he was WWE champion for 13 months and he main evented twice, I think, is fundamentally stupid.
It was longer than that. I think it was longer than that, wasn't it?
And he main evented twice. That is awful.
It was like 16, 17 months. It was a long time.
And he only made evented.
I am starting to wonder if Roman's gonna overtake that. I do think
the
that
tribal chief.
I think that could be without jumping into spoilers for the podcast, I think that could be a little plan that Mr. McMahon's got in the back of his head.
Especially if Punk's about to literally go and, get that. I also want to say as well, it's not really wrestling, so I've confirmed or anything near that, but big news for Paige, I think, this week, was she put on her Instagram that she's now being able to go back to the gym after her injuries, and she's beginning to get. I'm not saying this, but I'm just saying it's good for her to be able to feel confident in her body again. People have already jumped on that. She's coming back. She's not. She's nowhere near it. If she ever does come back, it will be an edge situation where it's like 5-6 years time. However, it's good for her that she's now in this position that she feels comfortable to go and do these things.
I adore Paige to bits. There is no bigger Paige fan than me. I would worry if she were to come back. It's brilliant for her that she's getting some recuperation and building some strength back. Fantastic. I'm not sure I ever want to see her in a ring again, because I care about all wrestling performers, but particularly I care about Paige.
Yep. No, I agree, and I think especially for the stuff she's gone through as well. I'm a massive fan of Paige. I miss her on television. I think when they scrapped the general manager, she got really done over, because I was really enjoying her as Smackdown GM. Actually, I thought,
yeah, great.
And then she doesn't even get a goodbye. It's just, there are no more GMs now. You are the GMs. It's like, no, we're not. We don't book the fucking shows. If we did, we wouldn't. If we did, no offense to this woman, but Nia Jax would not be on them.
If I was GM, Raw would be a fuck like better than it is.
Yeah, Christ, like a flipping monkey could write that better than the WWE right at the minute. But again, if Paige, I just want to see Paige on TV again as a manager or something, because I think she is wasted just sitting in the back. Give her something to do, because she is so magnetic and the crowd love her. I think she's one of those people that, again, she could be a babyface manager, she can be a heel manager, she can do both. Yeah, make her a commentator. Make her a commentator, for fuck's sake. She'll have more personality than fucking most of them.
She's got so much charisma. So much charisma.
Yeah. And I really hope one day she can do an Edge and come back in 3 or 4 years, maybe just a one-off Rumble appearance. But even if she can get that, hit a couple page turners, get through that, I'd take that, But it depends. I would never have said Edge would come back, so more fool me. So who knows? Always stay on the optimistic side, kids. Is my way. Just don't put her in a ring with Nia Jax, for God's sake, because she won't be there very long. No offense, Nia Jax.
I don't want to see anybody in a ring with Nia Jax.
Just
oh my
god! Speaking of which, can we just talk about, because he's not on the cards, but he should be. Reggie is killing the game right now. Reggie is my guy. He is the best. I thought nobody could top R-Truth 24/7 champion. Reggie. I love how as well, because he's not French. They put it in the storyline that Carmella wanted the sommelier to speak French. And he's like, well, I did it. And there was this promo on the network / YouTube, but they were like, oh, I did it so I get my foot in the door. I don't speak French. I'm like, it's like they completely did Carmella over there and just made her sound quite, like, that's not a good. I mean, even if you're a wrestling heel, that's a bit dodgy to go. You need to speak in this accent so you sound more like people that would, it's awful. Like, it made her sound incredible. I don't want to go into it, but I was like, is that really your best excuse? Just make it like he's different. Christ. Apollo Crews just did it randomly one week.
I mean, I was just to say, remind me, is Apollo Crews on the card for SummerSlam yet?
No, nor is his Commander Aziz. I really hope he does, because he wasn't on the last pay-per-view either. He's been out, as soon as he's won it, he's kind of done nothing.
I'm sure Reggie will feature in SummerSlam. They'll do some kind of backstage skit or something with the 24/7 title.
They're playing 2K21 or something, because I don't know, 22, because that's sponsoring SummerSlam, I believe. But yeah, John, before we get into the actual SummerSlam card, which we will do, by the way, me and John will be doing a review the week after SummerSlam, but it won't be a podcast. It'll just be a video on the YouTube channel. So if you guys want to see that, that'll be YouTube exclusive. Mainly because, well, on my feed account, I have like a certain amount of upload data I can put on it, in a certain time period. But the once a week thing works, and it gives me a lot of removal room, but the YouTube obviously is unlimited and I can put as much on there as I want. So if you want to hear the review, please do check that out on the YouTube channel, which will be up, I'd say, the same week as SummerSlam, most likely, if we can do it. But
yeah, it'll be within a few days, I would have thought.
But looking forward to Raw. This, again, I'll remind you, like I said at the beginning of the episode, this is the 11th of August. So there's still 10 days before SummerSlam for us. So if these matches are announced, and you're like, why are they talking about this not been announced? That's why. And if they haven't been announced, so we're just fantasy booking matches that don't exist. So enjoy.
And also, if you're listening to these predictions after SummerSlam, one, why, and two, don't say, well, you got that wrong, because we're recording it before SummerSlam and you're listening after.
Exactly. I personally believe the big match that could be on there is Randy Orton versus Riddle. The Battle of Arcade, bro. I don't see why it wouldn't be on the card at this point.
Yeah, the end of Raw this week looks like it's kind of leading into that. We got Randy dropping Riddle with a stunner. Not a stunner, an RKO. It's effectively a stunner.
It's more of a cutter.
Wow, yeah, but a stunner's effectively a cutter.
They're all the same kind of move, aren't they? Land on your knees.
The only difference is the fucking kick.
I didn't realise that RKO stood for his initials, by the way.
Randall Keith.
Randall Keith. No. Anyway, I think that was a great chant that once originated in the UK, I think, because of course it did. And then it kind of just stuck. It's like the hey Bailey every time Bailey's out in the UK. Hopefully they come back to the UK, because England. Sorry, America, but when we were at a WWE show, we come up with the best chants because you only ever hear them when you're in the UK. We got Fandango over. You fucking didn't. We did it in the UK first, and then you stole it. So we rock. But yeah, I think Randy Orton versus Matt Riddle. I think first of all, dude, Matt Riddle was a great job to make me care.
I mean, in terms of general opinions, over the last 6 months, nobody's done more to kind of impress me more than they had than Riddle, to be honest. I've never been the biggest fan, but actually the work he was doing with Randy and, the work he was doing with Sheamus before that, it's just been really good.
Yeah, fundamentally, I think as well, considering he's had to sort of carry the baton for the whole kind of arcade bro thing for the last 6 weeks. I think Randy said he was away without Randy, and he's done a great job. I remember that week on Raw, I think maybe 4 weeks ago now, where he literally pretended he was Randy Orton and came out to Randy Orton's music and did the pose and did the arcade. Like, something I'm just not a massive fan. Like a lot of the audiences, I don't really get the stoner gimmick thing. Like, yeah, he's a stoner, cool. I think he's really cool in the ring, but I don't really. I like a good character. And I think he's funny sometimes. Like, I thought the WrestleMania thing with RVD and was it the Great Khali? I thought that was pretty funny. But I think
it was pretty funny, particularly as they had him backstage talking to an actual stoner.
Yeah, exactly. Bro. Yeah, but I do see Randy winning this one. I don't want to talk about this too long because obviously there might not be matches and therefore wasting time. But I do see Randy winning the first confrontation to give Riddle the big win overall because it's how WWE works. And I think Randy's just come back. They want to build him up. They don't want to knock him down straight away.
Yeah, Randy's going to get the W for this. It'll be a decent match. It won't be too long. Probably only be about 5-10 minutes. Randy will get the W, but it's not going to be the end of the feud.
No, not at all. I really did want to see them have one tag team title match though, against AJ Styles and Omos. I thought could we at least get one? But no.
I mean, that could still come. You don't know what the outcome of this feud is going to be. The outcome of this feud could be that Randy does an about turn and he's like, actually, yeah, we should be partners again.
I just want to see somehow Randy hit an RKO on Omos. If he can do that, then I think I might just flip out. It might be one of the best RKOs of all time.
Yeah, one of my mates, like his son, was massively into wrestling when he was a kid, and when I used to go over there when he was about like 6 or 7, he would frequently attempt to get me in an RKO, and I think it would probably look a little bit like that. So yeah, Omos would probably do exactly what I used to do when Daniel tried to get me in an RKO at the age of 6, and literally just kind of lower down and sort of turn it into a kind of Walls of Jericho.
Yeah, that's what you got to sort of do, isn't it? And I think as well, this only casualty of this AJ Styles and Omos thing is I've read AJ Styles is better than the tag team. I hate to say it, but he is. He should be in top feud. I want to see him turn babyface, get drafted to SmackDown and fight Roman Reigns again now as AJ Styles babyface versus Tribal Chief Roman. I think that'd be sick. But this is the place he's at the minute. And I think overall him and Omos work brilliantly. I think it's only good for Omos that he's with AJ Styles, possibly one of the best people you can get to get you through your first few months in WWE. I do. If we're wrong and this is a tag team title match, I will say I do see AJ and Omos going over. I see that being the fault of Randy and Riddle arguing, and then Omos takes advantage and wins. And then that's what leads on to the feud. But I don't know. Whatever the outcome is, Randy Orton's going out on top. I don't think he'll take the pin in the tag match, but if it's a 1-on-1, he won't lose it. That's kind of my 2 cents. I think, John, we need to talk about the Intercontinental Championship because Mr. Apollo Crews has held the title since Mania now, which has been like 4 months, which is bizarre. It hasn't felt that long. In contrast to 2020, 2021 is going by quite quickly. And it's been rather interesting. But who would you see him face? Obviously you got like King Shinsuke with Rick Buggs, you've got Big E, you've got Kevin Owens, Who would you say on the SmackDown roster sort of whets your appetite for a match? Finn Balor, even he's not going to get it.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be Big E because obviously now Big E's got the Money in the Bank. That'd be a bit of a step back. Likewise, I don't think it'll be Balor because he's aiming higher.
Yeah.
Shinsuke's a good shout, actually. Yeah, I think Shinsuke's a good shout, actually. and that'd be a decent match, because obviously you'd have two guys on the outside. And Shinsuke's a great worker. They get a good match out of each other.
Exactly. I'm also a big fan of the Shinsuke and Rick Buggs partnership. I rather like it, actually. It's dumb, but I like it because it's dumb. And sometimes dumb wrestling can be very entertaining, and I really like it.
Yeah, I like it because it's dumb. I also like it because of, obviously, the change that it's brought about in Baron Corbin. I really like this kind of down and out Baron Corbin character. Where it's like he's broke, he's got no money left, he's had to sell all his possessions, his wife's left him. Like every time he walks into the ring, people are talking about how bad he smells. It's really like he is carrying that. Like the guy's got a lot of detractors, but every gimmick he's given, every job he's given to do, he does it.
I've never understood.
He's a great worker.
I've never understood the attraction for Corbin. I've always thought he's brilliant because he always has been and always probably will be the person you love to hate. I'd never say I never see him being a babyface. I think that'd be a big waste of his time.
Yeah, you're not supposed to like him. That's the whole point.
Yeah, and he said it on the now rested show backstage. He said it to CM Punk actually in an interview because again they kind of blurred the lines between. He said, "Oh, I love it when fans have a go at me on Twitter because that's our job." He goes, "I'm okay with it because I know they're not having even if they're having a go at me, they're having a go at my character. They don't know who I am. They don't know me, so it's not like they're having a go at me." So like I'm doing my job. He literally said, "I think he said, I don't mind if I get death threats because I know they're not asking for my death. They're asking for who they perceive me to be. So it's like I'm doing my job." And I love the fact as well.
But again, kids,
don't send death threats.
Don't send death threats. Don't. You shouldn't have to reiterate it, but it's not cool.
Just don't, man.
And it's kind of against. It's kind of. I mean, it's not even just kind of. It's also illegal. You're breaking the law, so just don't do it.
If you're going to break the law, do like a cooler infringement of the law. That's what I'll say.
There are no cool infringements of the law.
Dog fraud.
Dog fraud. Care to elucidate on what dog fraud is? Those two words that you put together.
I don't know. So dog fraud is when this happened in real life in America. Somebody bought a dog, but it was actually a cat. And they were that dumb that they thought they. And the person that sold it went to prison for dog fraud.
Kids, don't take advantage of the mentally afflicted.
I don't think they were though. They just were really pissed off.
They thought a cat was a dog.
Yep.
I mean, I can tell the difference between a cat and a dog, and I'm blind.
There you go. If that's not a quote for this episode that you need, but there you go. But I also think one thing credit to the WWE writers is I love how on the pulse over this because I love the fact they actually did set up the GoFundMe for Baron Corbin. I think that's blimmin' hilarious that they actually went to that length.
They actually set it up.
They actually set one up. Yeah.
Oh, cracking.
And I'm like, well, that's good now because whenever they talk about it, it's legit. It's not just this random GoFundMe you can't find. Hopefully it goes like Connor's Cure or something.
Charitable cause.
Yeah,
it'll probably go to like Make-A-Wish or
Connor's Cure or something.
It'll go to one of WWE's favourite charities rather than actually into Baron Corbin's pocket because guys, he does still have a job. He is still getting paid.
He probably does he have a wife?
I think so. Yeah.
I'll do Google.
But he's Baron Corbin is a bug hunger man. He's not actually now Corbin for hire as he was on Monday night.
Yeah,
I mean he is because he's being paid to do a job. But
yeah, no, he's been married since 2017.
There you go.
But yeah, no, I think as well. Credit to him as well. He looks a lot better bald. I'll say that.
I really, the King Corbin thing was getting a little bit tired. I think they've changed it at the right time.
Yeah,
it's done a great thing for Shinsuke. It's done a great thing for him.
Exactly, and we're also getting the female King of the Ring soon. The women's King, the Queen of the Ring. Hopefully they call it that because they had in in the dirt sheets, it's been called the Women's King of the Ring. Hopefully, whoever came up with that isn't as dumb to not call it the Queen of the Ring. And then we can also have a King of the Ring. Make it a network special, or they call it a Peacock special. But make it. I'd love that. I love a tournament. I'd watch it.
I miss the King of the Ring tournament. I mean, obviously, I've come through the days of when it used to be a full blown pay per view. Actually, it was kind of the precursor to Money in the Bank of like pushing up your mid carder to main event status. So many top guys got there through winning King of the Ring, like Triple H, Stone Cold.
Yeah. Well, legitimately, Edge. Yeah. You gotta.
Angle was King of the Ring, wasn't he? Yeah.
Angle, yeah. You gotta use those sorts of things. I think giving it to Baron Corbin was great because he was sort of on the precipice of
and King Mabel.
King Mabel. Who can forget King Mabel? Oh god. Versus Diesel, one of the worst, possibly the worst SummerSlam main event of all time.
King Mabel, the man who once won a WWE or WWF at the time tag team match for falling onto someone. Yeah, Men in the Mission actually accidentally won the tag titles because he fell on top of somebody, couldn't get up, and the referee had to count 3.
Indeed. Exactly.
The 90s, it was shit.
It was, yeah. I love how everyone goes, oh yeah, like the Attitude Era was so much better. I'm like, you go back and like obviously there were these golden moments that you can't.
People go the 90s was so much better. Like, no, anything between 1993 and 1996 was absolute toilet.
And also,
once you got to Austin 316, it got a lot better.
But also as well, you look back at 2010s, people go, oh, 2010s movie was so much better. Because in your mind, you have these golden moments, right, of the decade. And you go, oh, that's so good because we had this in that decade. But you watch it week to week and it still was hit and miss. Like, there are some classic episodes of Raw back then, but there are also some really fucking boring ones.
I mean, the Attitude Era had some great things, but never forget, it also gave us Pat Patterson versus Jerry Briscoe on pay-per-view in an evening gown match.
Yep, exactly.
I'll never forget it. Patterson has walked out. I think it was while he was doing his ring entrance. Patterson's walked out to the ring, and JR's on the fucking mic, and he's gone, fellas, he's single. Jesus Christ. Nice bit of casual homophobia there from JR.
Terrible, isn't it? Terrible. Yeah, Christ. Should we actually get into some proper wrestling and talk about this match card?
Yeah. I mean,
no offense to the evening gown match.
Yeah, the only other match that I think we might actually see added is giving the Timeless podcast listeners exactly what they want. And actually, in a steel cage, Alex Kingdom versus Rhys Jenkins.
I can't confirm or deny if I've been booked. If that was to happen, though, I'd want it to be like a WrestleMania 23 situation because I feel like not only would it not be good for the WWE sponsors to have an able-bodied person beat up a disabled person, so I have to it'd be like the Battle of the Billionaires, but it'd be the very shit version of that. So I'd get like Jinder Mahal on my team. And
it'd be like the battle. It'd be like the battle of the Zoom links.
The battle of the Zoom links, yeah. But also nobody knows who the fuck we are. We just come out on SummerSlam, and this is the match. It's like,
Jinder Mahal on your team, and well, no, because that would mean like Drew McIntyre would have to be on.
Oh no, I'm taking Drew. Fuck that shit.
Yeah.
Rhys can have Jinder's henchman as well.
I'll be Stone Cold. I'll be the special guest ref.
Yeah, just do it.
And everybody gets a cookie cutter at the end.
I would fight. Nice finishing move. I would fight Rhys Jenkins in. So I'd obviously not that type because obviously I'm not a small person, but that the equivalent of a WLC sort of things. Like if it's someone we could incorporate wheelchairs into a wrestling match, I'd do it. Like I'd do that sort of thing. But I wouldn't face him in just a straight. I wouldn't face him in a straight up steel cage. I feel like I'm not going to be coming out the end of that.
That does remind me, actually. I think the other thing that we might actually legitimately see added to the card is probably going to be Drew versus Jinder. It's not on there yet, is it?
No, it's not, babe. I hope not. It's
one of the
only feuds that I genuinely don't get. Like, I understand they're taking Drew away from the picture a little bit.
Since he came back, Jinder's been great.
He's been great, but it's one of those things where you know the result as soon as you go in.
We know what the eventual result's going to be, but
I don't know, mate. I'm just,
I
think I'm a bit tired.
Could they drag it out for a couple of months? Probably.
I'm a bit tired of Drew McIntyre. Is what I'm saying. Not against him. I love him, but like I felt obviously because he was. Yeah, no, I'm sorry.
When you're tired of Drew McIntyre, you're tired of life.
From Ayr, Scotland. Yeah.
God, you got a Claymore coming your way, boy.
I do indeed. Should we get into the card then, Mr. Cook?
I think we better.
So first of all, I'm going to go from the order what I think it will be. So I'm going to kick off with the United States Championship match between Sheamus and Damian Priest. Obviously, in this storyline, Ricochet has been done over. Essentially, is my way of looking at it, because Ricochet has been fighting Sheamus for weeks, getting the one-upsmanship, and then Damian Priest this week on Raw goes, "I want to challenge you, Sheamus," and Sheamus goes, "All right
then." I mean, we could see this go to a no contest because, like, that could actually be exactly what happens. Ricochet comes out and goes, "Not having that, bosh."
But my thing is, right, is that I don't understand Vince doesn't like little guys in inverted commas, because wrestlers are not very small. They're buff as fuck. But Ricochet is just one of the people that oozes like awesomeness, and he's so good. Why is he not pulling that trigger? Like, he just like, I love Sheamus as well, so I'd struggle to pick here if it was Ricochet. But Ricochet is, oh man, he could, like, obviously he's not the luchador type, but he could be that new Rey Mysterio, young, high flying ones that the kids love, but he just doesn't pull the trigger. I don't get it.
He just doesn't learn. All this thing about, oh yeah, Vince loves a big guy, and of course he does. But because that went so well with Lars Sullivan. And it went so well with Nathan Jones, and it went so well with Ryback. He just never learns the lesson.
Do you know Ryback's got an OnlyFans now? Yeah. There you go.
I don't want to know any more about that.
I don't know much about him, so all I know is it's very ASMR filled.
Feed me more.
But, yeah. I don't just look. I've got nothing against Damian Priest, but he's been busy with The Miz since WrestleMania. He's not interacted with Sheamus, to my knowledge, very much. He comes in this week and now he's like, "Oh yeah, now I'm in the title picture." Worry, right? Even though Ricochet has been doing bits, he was, apart from Biggie, probably the standout in the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. He is like awesome. The crowd love him. He suffered through the Thunderdome era because there was no crowd and nobody could like react to his shit. But the crowd love it. He's also good on the mic. If you give him a microphone, they just never give him the fucking opportunity to. Like, I don't understand. I'd love to see Ricochet hold a belt for a long time. I believed in Kalisto until Vince gave up.
I don't understand it really either. But I mean, is there a possibility he could be carrying a little bit of an injury, or there could be any number of reasons why it's happening this way.
Yeah, if it is just Vince being Vince and prefer David, I am a bit disappointed.
Yeah, and at the same time, there could be a legitimate reason behind it.
If there is,
I mean, I'm just very conscious that when we did WrestleMania, we watched that feud match and we were like, "Well, that was shit," and then we kind of found out what was happening afterwards, and it was like, "Oh, right, okay."
Okay, I will I will say this on the podcast. If we do find out of some injury, I'll rescind this comment. But until I do, and in my head, I'm going, this is a Vince McMahon going, Damian Priest, big guy, Ricochet, small person. You get the. I'm like, I don't get it. It's baffling to me, and I think Ricochet versus Sheamus is great. We've seen what Sheamus can do with a sort of high flying, high athletic Riddle. I don't understand why he doesn't want to have that again with someone like Ricochet. Imagine the sort of like bro kicks you can get from Ricochet doing some cool flips into him. Yeah. I don't understand it. Also, I don't care about Damian Priest since WrestleMania. He's done nothing. He's literally done nothing apart from just wander about for 3 months, and now he's in the US title picture. Can you? He fought zombies at Backlash. I think that's the last thing I remember him doing.
Well, I mean, it made me watch that film.
Yeah,
which was very good.
I've still yet to watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, overall, I hope it's Sheamus. I hope it's Sheamus because also Sheamus is doing a great job. I also don't like the fact as well that Vince has made the storyline where Sheamus is like, oh, I don't want to fight these small people, and so his challenger isn't the small. It kind of defeats the purpose of the storyline. Like Sheamus has won here because he's no longer fighting the little guy. He's like, I'm like, this is great inspirational storytelling, WWE. You can't win if you're the little guy. Not in the land of WWE.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Sheamus as well because, as you say, Priest's kind of come out of nowhere, and nothing against the guy, but if you're going to take the belt off of an established guy like Sheamus, you need a bit of build up in that.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I love the whole, because obviously Sheamus broke his nose, so the fact that they've kind of incorporated the face guard thing. I think Sheamus has also just been one of the most underrated wrestlers of all time. Anyway, I think he's a great heel or babyface because we get his comedy because he's because he's from near our way. So every time he gets on the mic, I think he's hilarious, no matter what. But for some reason, WWE like the whole he's not from America, so boo him thing, which I've never understood.
I mean, I love I loved the empty arena match with Drew.
Oh, that was sick.
Back in February, it's probably my match
of the year.
Fastlane. Yeah, it's probably my match of the year. I thought it was great.
I think I was at Fastlane. That was to determine who Drew was who was gonna go to the main event of Mania. But I thought, I agree with you there. I think Sheamus again. I don't know whether you're watching at this point, John, but 2012 Sheamus' world title reign I thought was incredibly underrated. I think I love him, but I just love him. I think he's class. Obviously, he's now 42. He's probably not going to be an active worker for too much longer. I want to see him get. I don't think he'll never win it again, but I want to see him in that one more world title match. You know, I want to see it. I want to see him in that program.
He's another guy that's basically done everything that's been thrown at him. You know, anything that's been asked, done it. He's a great company man.
Yeah, I will also say, because I don't know, where's Cesaro right now? What's Cesaro doing? Why has he done nothing since Backlash? Bring Cesaro back now, please. I mean,
there was a feud with Rollins, wasn't there? But now that Rollins has kind of moved on to Edge, it's all dusted.
Exactly. Yeah. No. Totally. You could put him against Apollo Crews as well. I just thought about that. So Cesaro's on Smackdown too. Like, but yeah, I think Sheamus for me is going to win this one, and if he doesn't, I'll riot. There you go. That's two. That's one that we both agree on. Sheamus. Right. The next match is the SmackDown Women's Title match between the champion Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks. Obviously Sasha Banks came back. She was all being friendly to Bianca, and straight away Sasha's turning heel tonight. There's no gripe on it. It's just you can never trust Sasha Banks. She is a slippery snake. So you got to be prepared at all times for her to just change her on a dime. And that's what I like about her. But yeah, I'm going to go Sasha Banks here. I think, although obviously the whole thing is try and get Bianca. Bianca's been a great champion anyway. But after this, who does she fight? Bailey's out. Carmella, I guess, but they've done it.
Liv.
That's why you put the belt on Banks. Then Liv can get a go.
I'm over the moon to see Sasha back. I think she will eventually win the belt back off of Bianca. I don't think that's necessarily going to happen on Saturday. I think this is another one where actually we can get a couple of matches out of this. So Bianca retains, then we get a stipulation match next pay-per-view down the line, where through some form of sneaky shenanigans, Sasha wins the belt.
Well, I reckon whenever Sasha wins the belt, they're going to bring Bayley back. And because I think the thing is, with both Bayley, it's the same thing with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, you can just bring them back together whenever you want because you can go, they're old friends, they'll fight each other and they'll love each other. They can just change their dime. It's like, I can buy it. It's kind of similar to Edge and Christian. Like, if they come back together, they get it. Yeah. Same with Brother Destruction, you get the point. You can just bring them back. And I see if Bayley's going to be out on the sidelines, I don't see why they wouldn't want to keep her on TV. It makes because she's, again, one of the most charismatic people on that fucking roster. So please keep her on TV.
Yeah, give Sasha the belt. Get some new challenges in there.
Liv.
Give Liv a title shot.
She should have been.
We all want to see that, don't we?
Yeah.
She was. I mean, she was a fan favorite going into Money in the Bank. Everybody loves Liv Morgan.
She's also a Cookie favorite.
She is a Cookie favorite, but Cookie's quite fickle. I like Sasha Banks. I like Sasha Banks. I like Paige. I like Alexa Bliss. I like Peyton Royce.
Yep.
You know, I'm quite fickle.
Yeah. But he only likes the good ones. He's not a fan of Nia Jax. Again, no offense, Nia Jax, also offense. it's like Christ, she's not on the show, but also there's no Alexa Bliss on the show. So that's interesting.
I mean, that was a bit fucking weird on Raw on Monday night with the winking doll.
Yeah, I don't get it. I'm just gonna call her Viper or Piper Niven because I hate the fucking name Dewdrop.
I mean, it's very bizarre that they've let the Fiend go and they still seem to be continuing with.
Well, it's
Alexa.
What Mickey. Did you see Mickey James's tweet?
No.
So when he got released, Mickey James tweets something like,
I try to avoid internet missives from Mickey James because I've seen videos.
So Mickey James essentially said, so you let the man who gave you the most creative.
Don't search it.
Don't search it. No. But she said something lines of you let the man who created one of the most creative things in the last 5 years go while still profiting on it and doing it worse. Congratulations. I don't think that's any gripe on Alexa, but I sort of get what she means.
No, I mean, Bray is an absolute talent. He is creatively brilliant. He is money. The amount of merchandise that the Fiend was selling.
They're still selling his merch now, which is fucking disrespectful.
For WWE to turn around and go, oh yeah, budget cuts, when they've made a profit and he's making them more money than fucking anybody else except for Roman.
Yeah. But also as well, it's the fact as well that after they were still selling his merch. It's like, read the room.
Vince, I don't know if you can hear this. You got two people on a podcast calling you an asshole.
And then as well, the fact is, the one thing that got to me was he obviously spoke out. I think he spoke out on a podcast or something, and he said, "I was ready to come back within the next month. Like there was plans, we were going. It wasn't because he was ready to go again, and they still got rid of him." And I'm like, how to knock a guy like this guy down? Like this is awful. I'm not saying this on like as a viewer. I'm sad that Bray's gone, but to the man, Mr. Rotunda, how fucking awful do you have to be at a company? There's a man that's gone through depression and lost his best friend to then go, right, mate, he's got himself ready in the position to come back again, and you take his job away. Fuck you. It's not. I don't understand it.
It's not a great look, is it? It's really not a great look.
I don't get it as well. And like Bray Wyatt is just people that can do anything. Even if you wanted him to not come back as the Fiend, he can literally do it. He can be funny. He can be a babyface. Yeah, the crowd will eat it up. You can do whatever.
Yeah, as far as the company is concerned, it is not a great look. They look like absolute jabronis.
I don't understand. I just feel bad also for this is a bit of a funny comment, but I feel bad for 2K. He's actually fucking scrambling on the video game to be like, right, who's gone? Who's still in? Who's gone? Who's still in? So because
at this point we might actually get Alex Kingdom and Rhys Jenkins as playable characters on 22K.
Is Sparky going to be a manager?
No, Sparky's my manager.
Yeah, but can you at least pick him as a manager in the game?
Yeah, he could interfere by sort of pissing up people's legs outside.
The dog piss match, Vince. Like you said earlier, Vince. People can't even ask someone on the podcast.
Don't give them ideas. I get worried. I get worried when dogs get involved with WWE. You'll remember Al Snow and Pepper.
You can even go back to I think 2019 with Baron Corbin and the dog food thing.
Well, I mean, I went back about 20 years before that.
I know. I'm just Al Snow.
Big Boss Man killed Al Snow's dog.
Yeah. Big Boss Man. Did he also like kill the Big Show's father or something?
No, he didn't kill the Big Show's dad. In storyline, the Big Show's dad died of cancer. However, the Big Boss Man did turn up at the funeral, put chains around the coffin, and drag it off down the street.
What?
It was an intense feud. It was an intense. But once we're done here, I'll show you a couple of videos from that feud.
You're gonna have to. You're gonna have to.
Because honestly, I miss the Big Boss Man like anything. I love Ray Traylor. He's a brilliant worker, great heel. One of those guys you love to hate. And yeah, they rewarded him with a main event push. He actually got to take on Big Show for the world title. He got squashed, but he actually got to take on Big Show for the world. But yeah, some of the promos from that feud were hilarious.
Fucking hell. But back to SummerSlam. So you're going to go Sasha Banks. I'm going to go Bianca Belair. Is that where we're at for this one?
No, I think we were going the other way around, weren't we? You said you'd go for Sasha Banks. And I said I'd go for Bianca Belair, but I thought that Sasha would
win it down
the line.
Sweet. Let's go for the Smackdown Tag Team Championship match. Next, the Usos, Jimmy and Jay versus the Mysterios. This time on pay-per-view, which is great because although they did a great match on the pre-show for Money in the Bank, I always like it when great workers are on the main show. And I don't agree with Jimmy Uso being a champion, but one thing I do know is you can put a good wrestling match on, and I'm fickle like that as a viewer, and I like the other three.
I like this feud. I like this feud. I think it's gone really well. I completely agree. I don't really think that Jimmy should be on television at the moment. If he is, I certainly don't think he should be fucking driving himself home. But oh, he's gone again. I've killed Alex.
You haven't killed me as much as last time.
Okay, but yeah, that aside, and it's quite a big thing to put aside, but that aside, yeah, I'm really liking this feud. I think that the Usos are probably going to retain. I think they gave the belts to Ray and Dominic just so that they could make them the first father and son tag team champions.
Yeah.
I think having the belts and the Usos kind of furthers the storyline with Roman and the family and the head of the table and stuff like that.
Yep. I would say the only thing I agree with you. I'm going to go the Usos. However, I would love to see the Usos lose it and Roman Reigns' reaction. I think that would be class.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen yet.
But see that down the line. We will see that down the line.
I'm just sad that the Mysterios didn't get a bigger run. I think they're sick. But there's always time, and I assume Bray has one more go in him, and they can have a proper run at him eventually. But yeah, no, I'm with you on this. I think this could be the
personal friend of myself and Sparky, Rey Mysterio.
Yes, there was photographic evidence. Yeah, personal friend.
There is photographic evidence.
Yes,
he's wearing a mask, but I can assure you, it's Rey Mysterio. It fucking better have been because I paid about 40 quid to meet him.
Yeah, it was just some random guy, some impressionist,
some random steward for Showmasters wearing a mask.
Yeah, that's they steal your money. But no, that was a joke. Showmasters don't come at the podcast. But yeah, I agree with you. I think
Joe must have lawyers. Warn you about that.
But I will say this. I think it will be the sleeper hit. I say sleeper hit. We know they're good, but I think this will be this could be match of the night.
Yeah, you've got some high octane guys in there. You got some real high octane guys in there. You got a lot of emotion in that ring.
Yeah.
I'm gonna lap it up.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Yeah, totally. Like I said, I think it's one of the easier matches to predict on the night.
I think it's brave to call it match of the night when you've got Sasha and Bianca on the card. But I think I might be with you there, actually. I kind of agree with you.
Next up, I'm going to go with the Raw Women's Championship match. Nikki, almost superhero, versus Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley. I couldn't care less. As a feud, I don't give a shit. That sounds awful, but I generally don't really care about Charlotte Flair. They've killed Rhea Ripley's momentum, and I like Nikki Cross. I don't like Nikki ASH.
I think Nikki ASH is gonna be retaining this. I think the reason that they've kept the Alexa gimmick the way it is not only to make money, but I think that will actually work quite well against Nikki ASH down the line. I think we could see Nikki and Lexi go face to face. down the line. Yeah, I agree with you. I'm not really that invested in this. I got a little bit fed up with it over the last few weeks when I think Charlotte had 2 number one contenders matches in consecutive weeks on Raw when she'd already been named as number one contender. And it was like, do you even know what you're doing? You're not even keeping track of your own feuds.
Yeah.
They're clearly on a bit of a mission to give Charlotte as many world titles as her dad as quickly as possible. The recently released Ric Flair, we wish him all the best for the future, for his future endeavours.
They didn't get, but they didn't.
At the age of God knows what.
They didn't say that in that statement though. That was the only statement where they didn't say that. They didn't say that. And
I mean, we're not ones to talk on this podcast, but the guy's lucky he can still walk. So
yeah, I think he said he wants to make his own clothing line and he wants to make his own like restaurant or something. So
I ain't gonna lie. If I could go online and get myself a Ric Flair robe in my size, I'd be fucking bang up for that.
Styling, profiling,
woo!
Flying, woo! Obviously, it's gonna be like a grand.
I'd go on to Zoom calls and work meetings and just like play a bit of music in the background and just sort of walk into the living room and just disrobe onto the chair and sit down. Yeah, obviously I'd have my work clothes on underneath it. I wouldn't be like in a pair of pants, but
yeah, I think, yeah, I agree. I think, let Ric Flair do what he wants to do. He clearly is not bothered. Clearly, WWE are really angry because they think he's going to AEW. If he does, I don't see it happening for a while. Also, he's not actually going to wrestle, is he? So just do what he wants. I think also WWE,
he's not going to wrestle. He's not going to wrestle. He can't really particularly commentate. He just kind of exist.
I mean, to be fair, if WWE are pissed they let him go, then why'd they give him one of the worst storylines of 2020? When it was like, do you remember the Lacey Evans thing? And apparently it was implied that he got Lacey Evans pregnant.
I mean, it's, to be fair, and I'm rarely fair to WWE, but to be fair, that storyline could have been going somewhere if she hadn't actually got pregnant. And good luck to her, wonderful, but there was clearly something creative going on there.
Yeah. He hated
they
it.
Had to kind of draw a line through.
He hated it. Like he thought it was awful. He was very uncomfortable. But hey, Vince finds that shit funny. At one point, he wanted to be the father of Stephanie McMahon's child in storyline. So we'll let him do what he wants.
Who'd have thought? I can't think why Vince McMahon would think that the idea of a 70-year-old man impregnating a pretty young blonde would be entertaining. Like, clearly not vicariously living through that storyline at all.
Yeah. Christ. I'm going to agree with you and go Nikki ASH on this one.
I mean, it's funny you bring up Stephanie McMahon because, Randy Savage never worked for the company again.
I knew you were going there. I knew. Yeah. He got his fair share of Slim Jims that night.
Don't be a nonce, kid. Don't be a nonce.
Was she underage at that? Was that the allege? I just thought it was that they did it.
It was fucking borderline.
Christ. That is.
I mean, we'll move on because I'm not sure.
Yeah, we don't want to get into trouble. I've already got into with the Showmaster's lawyers. I don't want to get into with Stephanie McMahon's lawyers or Macho Man's either. So
right. You can't slander the dead.
Yeah, no, but still. Well, next up, now we're getting into. I assume what are the top 3 matches on the card? Edge versus Seth Rollins, feud of the show going in for me. I think these two are great promo. I think. It's the one that's the least clunky. It's the most.
To clarify, she'd have been about 17, 18. So I don't know what the law is in that particular state. I think it depends state to state. But
yeah, I think the Edge and Seth Rollins thing. I think it's the most. What's the one I'm going for? the most realistic of the feuds going into SummerSlam. It has a real
I'm loving it. I think it's
realism into
great.
it. I love the fact for once WWE haven't forgotten about their history. I like how they're incorporating the whole 2014 neck incident and how Seth is like, if I get the chance again, I'm actually going to break your neck. I think that's class. I love the fact as well that Edge is like, I love the fact as well that on Raw or SmackDown, so Edge brought up. Oh, people say that you're the new me, except you're like the less good. You're as good as the ring, but you don't have the charisma. I think it's class. I think Seth Rollins is a brilliant heel, and people that say he's awful, I don't understand you. I think he's class. I think. I tell you what though, one thing I do wish, and I don't it's not Vince's version he gets told that, but I want Seth to reply to the Becky chants. Like I think that'd be class if he did. I know that Becky's like the ultimate babyface and he is the biggest heel, but even if he could just do one smacky comment, would be, I think, just to do, because that's the most again, those are the ones that make you the best heel. When you can throw it back in the audience's face, you're winning. So let the wrestlers do that. I don't understand, but overall, I see Edge going over here because he's lost a lot of his big matches. If you want to keep Edge somewhat legitimate, he needs to win this one.
Yeah, I can see Edge winning this. I'm feeling like a little bit of a stuck record because again, I'm not sure it'll be the end of the feud. It's another one that I want to see go for a little while.
It'll go on break, I think. I think Edge will disappear again, come back in a couple months.
But I can see Edge winning this. It won't do Rollins any harm to lose it. I think it would do Edge a bit of harm to lose it.
Yep.
So I can see Edge winning this.
Yeah, no, me too. And I think this could be again possibly the hardest hitting match of the card. Like, there's going to be some big things in there. I think there's got to be a chair spot where Seth's about to go for the stomp. Edge will move out of the way. The ref will be down or something. Edge will hit him with the chair shot, spear, 1, 2, 3, win. And then that's how Seth can moan and complain going forward. He didn't beat me legitimately. I got screwed and all that, which Seth does brilliantly because he's great at just moaning. The Seth Rollins character is a legitimate great whiner, and I think it's class.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
I'm going to go Edge on this. We're actually agreeing a lot on this card. I don't think it's a predictable card either. I don't think we're going down the same wavelength.
I think bits of it are. I think we're agreeing on the less predictable bits. But some bits of it are predictable, as we'll come on to.
I think so the next match is Bobby Lashley with MVP versus Goldberg for the Universal Championship. And I'm going to go with Goldberg. Because
a little bit, I'm a little bit torn on this one. And the reason why is I really don't want this to happen. I really do not want this to happen. And I will be very angry if it happens because it will be another time that a good run and a good title reign has been cut short by this sack of shit. But I'm afraid that I agree with you.
Because also looking at my predictions, if this doesn't happen, sorry for the spoiler for the main event, but if this doesn't happen, no titles will change hands at SummerSlam, which I just don't see happening. So I am therefore, that's not the reason I'm picking Goldberg. I think they want a shock winner. I think what's the biggest shock? Goldberg beats Bobby. MVP turns on him.
I do wonder though, given this is two big guys that are going to be beating the shit out of each other, it's probably going to be a quick match.
Oh, Big E.
We've not got Big E on the card.
Huh.
I do wonder if we're going to see a cash in here.
Yeah. Then you could trade Bobby to SmackDown as well and put him against Roman Reigns, which would be sick.
I mean, that's the only thought going through my head because I'm like, nobody wants to see Goldberg.
You would turn Bobby Lashley face really quickly if you beat the shit out of Goldberg after the match and you hear Big E's theme music.
Nobody wants to see Goldberg as champion.
Nobody does. No.
But yeah, either Goldberg wins it, gets the crap kicked out of him, and then Big E comes down, Or vice versa. Bobby wins it, Goldberg kicks the crap out of him, and Big E comes down. Whatever happens, both guys are going to be practically dead by the end of the match, and then Big E's going to come down. But yeah, I'll go Goldberg for this match, because otherwise there's no fucking point in even being there.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't think Goldberg wants to lose 2 matches in a row either. I don't think he's, no offense, but I don't think, I do mean offense. I don't think his ego could take it. I think he kind of let Drew go because the internet would riot. I think
given that it's SummerSlam and it's a big crowd and it's in front of a crowd, I really don't want to throw this out there and get myself excited about it. But do you think that somebody could come down and kind of interfere and cost Goldberg the title or the match? Or, after the match, come down, beat the shit out of him, and Big E takes advantage?
maybe. I just we've now got the Big E thing. I think, look, either way,
I'm just thinking that like the stage could be set for.
I just think for Big E. I know it sounds dumb.
Like the stage could be set for sort of
imagine. I'm just thinking.
But then
I wish.
I would go mental.
But then Big E is fucked. He's never winning the belt. The Money in the Bank will run out because they'll never get the chance to cash in. We know what happens when the member of the New Day goes against Brock Lesnar. It doesn't go well.
Well, no, I'm not talking about Lesnar in the match. I'm talking about Lesnar coming, Goldberg wins the belt.
Oh, mate.
Down and beats 10 shades of crap out of him.
I take it.
Big E comes down and cashes in.
I take it. I mean, look,
I'm just conscious that, it's SummerSlam. It's back in front of the crowd. Crowds are back there. Yeah. They've clearly been holding off
on some big,
on bringing some 2 or 3 people back until there's a crowd. Because Goldberg's there, Lesnar's just a bit of a logical conclusion, I guess.
And also, I think that's why you put.
I'm going to look ridiculous because this is never going to happen. But
I don't think you are, but I think as well. In the perfect sense, Goldberg being announced sort of took the hive mind off Lesnar for a bit. So for him to pop up, it would actually be a surprise in the sense.
It would be a brilliant return.
I also see Becky Lynch coming out in some capacity. I see that happening.
If he ain't coming out for this match, he might come out for the next one.
I hope not, because I don't want to see. I don't want to see Paul Heyman's heart torn. I don't know whether I could deal with the Paul Heyman love story. Who does he choose? The young sweaty Samoan or his long-term boyfriend? the new hip guy on the court, or his long-term lover. Who does he pick?
I mean, they did have a bit of a breakup before Lesnar disappeared, didn't they? They did have a little bit of a.
Yeah, but when Lesnar comes back, they're going to put them back together, aren't they?
And Roman doesn't really need it.
No. But hey, shall we talk about that now?
Puzzle pieces are just kind of falling into place and probably making completely the wrong picture. But...
Yeah. Shall we talk about this now then? It is the singles match for the Universal Championship. That's my best
the half-hour trailer for the Suicide Squad.
I don't think that's why he's here, thankfully. But yeah, that was my best Craig Hamilton impression. That's all I can do. Because he says Universal Championship. I love Craig Hamilton.
You think it's just a coincidence that at the time his massive DC movies come out?
I see it there, but also I don't think it's in the Dave Bautista sense. I think because it's SummerSlam. I think he's come back because it's SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Overall, Also, I assume as well in the pre-COVID times.
I can't wait. I can't wait for about 20 years later when you're a lot more cynical.
Yeah. I'm saying no. Obviously, look, John Cena, Roman Reigns. I'm excited for this match, even though I know the outcome. I don't know who's going to win the match technically, though. I can still see John Cena winning it by DQ. I still don't know how. Will John Cena get screwed over? That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think Balor's getting involved in this. I think Balor's coming down and getting involved in this. He's clearly got a massive. He ain't gonna let that match fly.
I know obviously it's not a money match, and on paper for the casual fans, a singles match with John Cena and Roman Reigns is much more interesting. But make it a triple threat, man. Just do it. I'd love to see Roman, Balor, Cena. Like the last time we had a triple threat was Cena, Brock, and Rollins at Royal Rumble, and that was class. And the casual fan at that point didn't care about Rollins because he wasn't the champion yet. Do it. Just put him in there. It'll work. I think go for it. But they're obviously not going to.
I love Finn Balor. I think if it was up to me, I'd put a belt. If it was up to me, I'd put a belt on him tomorrow. I'd put a world title on him tomorrow.
Put the 24/7 on. You can beat Reggie.
Well, that's a world title, not
you say the 24/7 title was not a world championship?
I mean, it is in the sense that half of the fucking world has held it at one point or another. But like it's not a world championship. It's a top tier championship.
I think in the hands of Reggie, you were mistaken.
On Saturday, West Ham won the Betway Cup by beating Atalanta in a pre-season friendly, and West Ham are sponsored by Betway. 24/7 title is the equivalent of the Betway Cup.
Fair point. There you go.
First trophy of the season. Boys.
Imagine before we get into that, you have really good predictions. I know this episode will come out after the match, but this Sunday, what's the score? West Ham Newcastle.
Oh, I don't like doing football predictions. Not like this.
Because this time it's personal.
Yeah, I'm not going into that. I'm not
going into it. You don't want to jinx it. You're scared that you're going to jinx it.
I just don't like. Doing it. Newcastle's one of the only teams. Newcastle's the only team outside of the top six. Double-O's are over us last year. I think, with the exception of Everton, they're the only team outside the top six actually beat us last year and they beat us twice.
Damn.
So yeah, I'm not going into that.
Not score prediction, but
looking forward to the season starting. We've had a really good pre-season.
Yeah, come on, boys. We've got a nippling goal. We can't go wrong.
I watched the pre-season friendly against Brentford, obviously, where the internationals haven't come back at that point.
Yeah,
and we look really good. Ben Rama seems to be on very good form. We absolutely tonked Celtic the other week 6-2. We beat Atalanta, who I don't know what they're like at the moment, but up until recently they've been a Champions League side. So it could be another fun season.
There we go. And now
I'm going for Cena by DQ on this one.
I'm going to go Cena by DQ as well, and I don't think it's just to protect Cena because I don't. But also, I think as well, I would love, in a sense, Cena to win this and sort of become that Brock Lesnar type. But also, Roman Reigns on a tear, he needs to continue. This is my thing. I know it will be, but I don't want this match with The Rock to be for the Universal title because then it telegraphs that match. I don't like it. This one I can sort of get away with because John Cena's big money. He said every time he's going to come back, he wants titles, and that's what he's going to do. I know John Cena, by the way, is still the most natural talker in WWE. He can just turn on a promo. Like I loved it. I love since he's come back.
Guy's just got natural charisma.
I think he's just a lovely fucker. I think he's a great guy.
And clearly one of the nicest, most genuine people in the world in a business that is generally full of assholes.
Yeah.
John Cena is clearly one of the nicest people we've come across.
I also
you look at all the work he does to charity. You look at all the extra time that he puts in for causes.
Most Make-A-Wishes ever.
An incredible nice guy.
Yeah, and I also have to say as well.
I think if we asked him, he would come on the Timeless podcast.
Maybe not currently, but I'd love John. Like John Cena. If I ever do get to the same room as Mr. Cena, I would genuinely say I think it's just a class act. And I think as well. I think
there'd be more than one John, and it would be confusing.
No, because I'd be like Mr. Cena, and you'd be John. But I do think as well. Credit to the man that he's in Hollywood. He's still doing the Make-A-Wish stuff, and I think it's amazing. And that shows his time. And again, I think The Rock is the same. I think they're both two of the biggest guys in the business, and they're two of the nicest blokes. Like fundamentally, like The Rock is just again natural charisma. I also find it funny that two of the nicest people in the company history hated each other for a time.
Yeah, because once you step outside of the world of wrestling, all of the asses that you've kissed and all of the relationships that you've built up count for nothing. And it comes down to actually if you are just a really nice guy or not. Say if you're going to Hollywood with a fucking attitude because you were Bertie Big Bollocks in a wrestling ring, you're not going to last very long. But actually, guys like Cena and The Rock that will go out there and actually work, and Batista probably to a degree as well. Actually,
yeah, Big Dave's seen this.
The guys that have been successful are successful because they've gone out there and they're not the big I am. They're successful because they've gone out there and they've worked.
Yeah. No, I agree with you, and I think I don't know, man. But the part of me that thinks wrestling, part of me that still believes in the kayfabe is like, oh, John Cena's just so cool, let him win the match. Obviously, the wrestling fan, knows that it's obviously predetermined, just like Roman Reigns in this. But I love John Cena. I want him to win. He's not going to. I want him to be the Universal Champion. I think he's class. He's not going to be. That does.
I think when they eventually break Roman's title reign, they're only going to break his momentum for something that's going to be progressive and going forward.
Obviously, the big thing would be that if Cena was to win, he would break the record. So if you're going to top, which would be the only novelty.
It's not beating anybody up, though. It's not a decision for the future.
I hope that Cena eventually does do it, by the way. I would think it's a massive shame if he doesn't.
It'd be great to see him rock up as a surprise entrance at the Rumble.
Apparently he's come back for Survivor Series.
Okay.
25 years of The Rock. Or 20 years of The Rock.
No, Cena I was talking about.
Oh, Cena. Yeah. So Cena win the Rumble. Yeah, do it that way.
Rocks up at Survivor Series. Out of nowhere. Bosh.
I think John Cena, again, one of those people that I just like. He like very similar. There's like CM Punk, even Roman Reigns in this. He makes me believe again. Like I watch him, I think Roman Reigns is a massive dick. I'm like, oh, I want to see you get beat up. And I watch John Cena and I go, oh, you're just a really nice guy. Like I want to see you win. It's like, but it's like when Sami Zayn was a babyface. I don't know how much you watched it when Sami Zayn was babyface on NXT, and he just kept trying, and he kept missing it, and he just kept trying. And like that's the sort of stuff I love, when you can make me believe and get engrossed in the story. I'm in, and I'm in for this. I want to see Roman Reigns get the shit kicked out of him, and see to lift that belt. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen, unfortunately. So, but John, I'm saying this now. Obviously, in the marketing, and Vince has said on conference calls that this SummerSlam is this year's WrestleMania, essentially, because this is the first big show really in front of a crowd. They've gone for all out, bringing Cena and Goldberg back. I'm excited. I'm going to enjoy this one. Remember, guys, as well, it's on Saturday this weekend, not the regular Sunday. It's on Saturday.
Oh, yeah. Saturday, 21st.
Get your pizzas in.
Stick the pre-show on straight after match of the day.
Yes. Yeah, there you go. That's a good way of doing it. If you're in the UK, if you're a US listener, watch something else before the pre-show.
Yeah, straight after whatever you do on Saturdays. I think most of your big sports are on Sundays, aren't they?
Yeah. So that's why they're not doing it on Sunday this weekend. I think there's a boxing thing that kind of.
Boxing's normally a Saturday night thing, isn't it?
Oh, because it's something to do with the boxing. Maybe they want to act as the pre-show to the boxing. I don't think there was boxing on Peacock though. I don't fucking know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I just find the word peacock funny.
Yeah,
It's got cock in it.
It's got cock in it. Subscribe to Peacock, you what? That comes up on the bill.
Is your cock the size of a pea? Subscribe to Peacock.
Yeah, so you can watch The Office and other shows that I don't know.
Unless you're here where, It's just a standard WWE network because we're fucking ace.
Yeah, we get all the good shit, whereas you don't get any of the old Raws and Smackdowns and stuff. So, boo to you. It's going to be exciting. I can't wait, John. I know the same as me. We're just going to sit down and enjoy this one. Hopefully, it's a good show. Fingers crossed, please. Card looks ace. I'm gonna get some pizza. I'm gonna get some adult beverages in and watch some wrestling. Are you gonna get pizza for this one? I know you do for Mania. Is SummerSlam also on the pizza thing, or is that a Mania exclusive pizza?
I think it's likely to be a pizza night. Yeah, I think it's likely to be a pizza night. I'm not sure about adult beverages. I might have a beer, but the adult beverages makes it sound a bit naughty, doesn't it?
I can assure you it's only
they're going to be drinking from a penis-shaped bottle.
No, I can assure you it's going to be some kind of spirit-based drink. But like I said, everyone, next week on the show, me and John, we will be reviewing SummerSlam, but not as a podcast. It'll be on the YouTube exclusive review. We'll talk about that. We'll probably talk about the Raw after SummerSlam as well, just in case anything happens.
And on our OnlyFans.
Yes, on Ryback's OnlyFans, me and John will be on that.
We'll be feeding him more.
Oh, exclusively on the Ryback OnlyFans. Oh god!
He's suddenly going to see a massive spike in subscriptions and wonder why the hell that's happened.
Yep, that's why. And then John will be back again as well next week. You get double cookie because the Untitled podcast will be out next week, and then Cook's on the episode after that because Avengers Infinity War. So
yeah, we need to talk scheduling because I'm away over one of the weekends, but we'll sort it out when I'm not.
We shall sort it out. We shall make it so that John.
We normally record on weekdays, so we should be all right.
Yeah, we'll record on a weekday for that one. Because if you're not there, the subscribers and viewers will riot and the viewership will go down. I showed John the analytics. It's a fact. If John's not on the episode, you guys don't watch. So, John is bringing the views in.
Yeah, I mean, I know I've not done it tonight, but you lot clearly like listening to a 40-year-old Cockney say cunt.
Hey! We got one in the bag. I thought for a second we're gonna do like a magic, and it was gonna just not be a thing. But you don't gonna say it this week. But like I said,
deliberately held on to the end.
Yeah, held on to the end, and wasn't it glorious? But no, thank you guys all so much for listening to this podcast. We're very close as well to episode 70 and 70 subscribers on the YouTube channel. So we could almost hit the goal this year of what Adam and Moon set us at the beginning since we turned to YouTube. He said if you can get 100 subscribers by the end of the year, he'll buy me a Tesco meal deal. So guys, a meal deal is on the line here. So if you guys can get 30 more subscribers, I can get a Tesco meal deal, and that's...
Guys, just make up some fake accounts. If you're already subscribing, just make up some fake accounts and subscribe on those. It's a $5. Adam and Moon can spare a $5 for his friends.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, you can follow John on Twitter at johnboy_cook for possibly the best Twitter account. Not only for like the funny memes that he does, but also if you want to see John just get annoyed at twats in the best way and put people in their place, it's the best place to go.
I mean, there are lots of people that do Twitter far better than me, but I'm pleased that some people know what I do.
No, I think you do, because it's because every tweet I read, I can hear it in your voice. So it's sort of like I know, like you would say this in person as well. You don't hold back. You would say the exact same thing.
Is that because most of them are fucking swearing?
I think there was a magic thing this week. We with Piers Morgan on Twitter, and because Piers Morgan said it, it's because
I did. It's rare. It's rare. It happens from time to time. I agreed with him quite a lot on the COVID stuff. But it happens from time to time. But yes, yesterday I did agree with Mr. Morgan on A-level results because he was uncharacteristically reasonable.
Yep, agreed. By the way, everyone that got their A-levels, hopefully you got what you wanted to. If you didn't, believe us when we say that it isn't the end of the world. There's always something out there, and you will find your place, and you will be okay. Trust me.
As Jeremy Clarkson always says, he got to go and live his dreams, and all that he got at A-level was a C and 2 U's, and an N and a T.
Did you actually say that, or did you make that bit up?
I made the last bit up. The C and 2 U's is correct, but I made the last bit up.
So you got two of them.
You can actually get an N at A level. You used to be able to because it's not complete. You can't get a T at A level.
There you go. That's just sad. John would love it if you could get a T.
I mean, I might deliberately aim to get one if you could get one, but
Yeah.
But no, I had to settle for a BCE in my A levels, 26 years ago.
And I didn't do A levels, so.
But yeah, congratulations to everybody who's got their A level results.
And you smashed it.
I genuinely, on a serious note, I know we laugh and joke, but I genuinely cannot comprehend how difficult it must have been for A level students over the last couple of years. And so anybody that smashed their A levels this year, I mean, I know a couple of people that have, anybody that smashed their A levels this year when like 15 of the 21 months prescribed learning has been disrupted. Fucking go you.
I agree. I fundamentally agree. And I think, you've got through the hardest time to even be able to submit results. So yeah, keep chugging away. Enjoy the summer as well. I think that's, now you don't have that on your back. Enjoy the time, if you're going to university this September or you're doing whatever, enjoy this time. Have a bit to drink. That's what I recommend. You've earned it.
I'm not going to name the university, but try to go to the same university as Alex and Connor. Stalk them.
Oh. No, the good thing is we've said it's Cardiff, but we never said which one it is. So then I think there's 4 in Cardiff, so you've got to get lucky.
4?
I think there's 4, yeah.
Cardiff has 4 universities?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think there's one literally just for maths, and then there's 3 legitimate, like, all-round unis.
So you've already narrowed it down to 3 because you know from what Alex has just said that it's not the one that's just for maths.
Yeah. So you go.
But yeah.
Without following me in person, you can follow me on Twitter.
Go to Cardiff. You've got a 1 in 3 chance of going to the same university of Alex Kingdom as long as you're not a mathematician.
There you go. As well as following me in person.
Yeah. If you are a mathematician, you can work those fucking odds out for yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Connor might need some help with that considering his new job. Anyway, you can follow me on Twitter, AlexKing_Dom. You can follow the podcast on Twitter, TimeSpod. And we'll see you all very soon. It's like John, say the last little bit again because it's always great.
Don't have nightmares.